muted and back up. And you know what? Maybe I should be visible on the screen. I don't know. Some people may like it less me, right? Less me and more graphics is better. But whatever for them, right? So, oh, that's good. So I had to talk about what's going on in Westeros right now. Clearly, we know there's a lot in terms of the storyline. But one of the more consistent storylines is the incest relationship in Westeros. So I wanted to take a moment just to, have a little conversation about it. I'm going to let a few people get in. So I'm just going to warm up. I'm just going to take one quick step off real quick just to make sure I got some water and I'm ready to go. Then I'm going to be back. Just let a few people get in and we're going to start talking about, all this incest stuff that's going on in Westeros. Here and I'm back. So, okay. So today I was really going to dig into the incestuous relationships of Westeros, right? Which are no small things, man. And I'm going to tell you right now, like I've been reading fantasy fiction for a long ass time. Like I'm at that point, right? I'm Gen X. Like I'm always very clear about that. Like what generation I rep. So you guys know basically when I was born, like all that stuff, right? It's all right there. I don't hide any of it, right? Because I think it's important. It gives you some perspective on where I'm coming from, like what I've read. Like I've spent a lot of hours reading comic books and stuff like that, right? Since my childhood, which is all good. I definitely appreciate it and I definitely enjoy it. So this brings me to Westeros, right? This whole series, Game of Thrones. And I'm gonna be really honest. I consider myself pretty efficient in Game of Thrones knowledge because not only have I watched the entire series, I've done all the books, right? I've done every single, well, I think I've done all the books, man. I've done the majority. I'd be surprised, like I wouldn't be surprised if there was like two books maybe I hadn't done. But I've probably done like whatever, 8 books in the whole series. So I consider myself pretty down. I put a lot of thought into Game of Thrones. But this brings me back to my first interaction with Game of Thrones, right? This is some important stuff here. I'm gonna produce some images for you guys here. This book came out, this book was out when I was a kid, and I had the opportunity to read it. And in fact, I remember picking up I remember picking this book up, right? I literally remember picking this book up, the first one, The Song of Fire and Ice, and it was so like I thought it was so off the hook that I immediately put it down. And I'll tell you what got to me, and I didn't realize it was going to be significant at that time, right? But time always has a way of changing your opinions and stuff. So when I read it, like as soon as I got to the part with Cersei and Jamie, like I immediately was like, I don't want to do this, right? Like I don't want to read this. It was just a whole different kind of theme from what I was actually on at that time, and I couldn't mess with it, man. Like it was too advanced for me. Again, I'm like maybe 13 or 14 at this time. Like I'm not an adult, so this is already. And Game of Thrones was a little more like political intrigue and like understanding the houses. I don't know if I could at that age if I could have gave it the type of attention that it really needed. So like, and this is an interesting thing because I like, you know, back in my day, man, back in the day, like getting to the bookstore, man, that wasn't just like an everyday thing. Like it might be several weekends or like maybe once a month where I got to go to a good bookstore, right? Like really, where I would get good stuff. The library didn't have anything, man. Like I ran through the library as a kid, right? So I had to make wise decisions about my books. It was always very important to me. So quickly, man, like my next trip to the bookstore, what's up, Stack the Rabbit? Like, so my next trip to the bookstore, man, I'm like, yeah, I can't mess with this. I got to dip up out of this series. And I end up latching on to this series, right? Dragonlance, which was kind of no joke in terms of like a myth story. It's very much what yeah, what's up, yeah, okay, so yeah, I'm sorry, man. So this series, like I get into this series and it's immediately like mad D&D. Like I'm loving it, right? Oh yeah, what's up, Doomy? Okay, there you go. Don't be a cunt. That's funny. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Don't be a cunt. Everyone remember that. Okay. So I turn to Dragonlance and like Dragonlance is very much D&D. Like it's far more pure D&D in a lot of ways. It's like the heart of it, right? Like whereas you know, Game of Thrones really isn't. It really doesn't mix all the elements of D&D. It just has dragons in there, right? But this is more like pure D&D. And I went on this route, and this was a long series as well. And I mean, I would go on to read this series probably for like 8 more years, man. I want to say it was at least like 8 years that I was deeply embedded in this series. So this is why like the themes matter. Like at that time, at 14, 15, I was already like, yeah, I'm not really trying to read about incest in Westeros, right? I'm really not trying to do that, right? So I had to dip out of it. That's just kind of, you know, like what would shape my fantasy knowledge would be more dragon, you know, this, you know, Dragons and Lance, Dungeons and Dragons would be a whole lot more like my dragon like makeup, right? Like coming out of it. So this was important. The incest in Westeros was prevalent right off the bat, right? And I was already like, yeah, I got to dip out, right? So when it came back, I was like, yeah, man, I kind of remember the series. I remember hearing about it, and I already knew it was gonna be off the hook, right? So lo and behold, right, like right up in like the first episode, right? It's kind of like the first episode, right, where they catch Jamie and Cersei like going at it, right? So right off the back, it's right to it. But that would not be it, right? That would not be it. The theme of incest in Westeros, man, Westeros is clearly noted, man. Like they're getting to the point. Like, look, it's normalized, and I'm gonna tell you why. Like, if I look at House of Dragons right now, right, like it's a lot of incest on both sides of this situation, man. Like, I'm being real. Like, look, this is the Reds and the Greens, right? It's the Reds versus the Greens. It's no other teams in there, right? Okay, so on the Reds and the Greens, on the Reds, I got Rhaenyra and Damon. That's an uncle and a niece, right? Right. And on the other side, I got brothers and sisters, right? With I think like at least Helena and Aegon, right? They're brother and sister, but I think didn't her pops marry a sister? Seemed like somebody else married sister. It's a lot of that in the Targaryens, right? We're just getting it. We're just getting after it. It's a lot of that in those Targaryens, man. Hey, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna talk Craster too. I got somebody people on YouTube. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna talk about Craster. He's not getting out of this in any kind of way, shape, or form. We will cast that light on Craster because his is even more insane. So these are the top like the top like incest relationships we're looking at on Game of Thrones. Like, right, we got brother, sister. This one's crazy because it's twins, right? Jamie and Jamie and Cersei, man, that was even deeper because like you guys were mirrors of each other, like literally, genetically, like everything, right? And so when did this start? Like, did it start in the womb? Right? I'm sure there's some level of familiarity with these two. Like, it's off the hook though, right? It's definitely off the hook, right? And they had 3 kids, right? And you notice nature didn't allow any of their 3 kids to live, right? Tom, Jeffrey, Marcella, or Tommen, right? So their relationship was so controversial that it kind of helped trigger, the War of the Five Kings. This is where it comes from. It is even treated as a scandal within this in this time. Like, it's too goddamn prevalent. Like, at this point, this is like if you look at it's crazy, man. It's crazy. Okay, I'm telling you guys. I've tried to step away from the story and really look at it from different angles. And if you look at it from like Jamie's side of the story, this is like the ultimate love story. It's the most tragic love story at all time. The only thing he ever loved was Cersei, and he loved her from like birth. He does not remember a time where he didn't love her. That's it for him, right? It's really, really crazy, like crossing that line. But like, it's at the heart of it, man. It's at the heart of it. It gets the ball rolling, it pops it off, and it's shocking. You can imagine me, 13-year-old, 14-year-old me. I read this and I'm like, wait a minute, like what? I'm definitely not ready for this, man. I'm ready for draconians and more like spells, and you gotta have some. You doing quests, right? Like everyone, give me a paladin, a healer, right? A dwarf, right? An elf, a kender, something like that, right? Mix it up, give me a healer, like give me what I need, right? Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, you're right. Okay, it gets deeper with the Valerians, right? Like absolutely. And then, but we see how it carries over, right? So we go Damon and Rhaenyra. This is also like uncle and niece, right? This is uncle and niece. And like we see this, like this is going on way before they get married. He starts with her immediately, right? Once Rhaenyra is at that point where we start realizing that she's pretty, like Damon immediately starts treating her like, yeah, that's my girl right there. Like I'm doing everything right. I'm all in your noodle. I'm making sure I'm rooted in your first sexual experiences, which is off the hook, by the way, like off the hook. And like he always brought her back gifts like that. He was grooming her from day one. Like when he saw her, he's like, yeah, every time I come back, I'm bringing you something you look forward to. Now you get excited. Like I already know I'm nice with the sword. So this was long term. And then they end up getting married. And I don't know how they keep having babies with each other. Like I know they haven't had any babies. It doesn't seem like they will have any kids, but they need to have one now, right? Like now that everybody's dead. But that's it here. And then the more recent one here is Aegon the second and Helena, right? These are brother and sister, directly brother and sister, and they got married according to Targaryen like custom. Like that was it. I don't know how, like it was just expected that they would be married. So I don't know. I don't understand, right? I don't understand how it goes about. I don't understand how it goes about. But this is how like they're keeping the dynasty. It's not anything about love in any way. This is just what had to happen. So this is kind of like what it is, right? And then you get Jon Snow and Daenerys, and I'm like, man, somebody do a background check every now and then, right? Because this was another nephew and aunt pairing, and they don't know their family, but I like to feel like there's a mechanism inside of me that would stop me from being attracted to someone that has my own genetics. Like we're more than just our eyes, right? Like we're more than just our eyes. But then like you said, the most disturbing one of all of them to me is Craster. Like Craster, and this is the father, and he's like, I'm when I have a daughter, yep, that's good. Let's just keep on having daughters, just me and a bunch of daughters. And I'm just like, saying all of them all the time, like every one of them, like with no regard. It's like we're keeping this process going. There's nothing worse. Like as far as genetic, man, it is tight, man. Nothing else is getting in there. You know what I'm saying? Like Craster's just like, yeah, I'm just doing this, man. I'm just doing this. And like even within that world, like it's frowned upon, but yet it's still all tolerant. And you see, like, man, for Aegon, like the difference is like Jamie and Cersei. By the time he got to Jamie and Cersei, it's scandalous to do that. Whereas for Aegon and Helena, it was considered normal. Like you could see they do it, and it's not even like a squabble about it. And this is the thing, like no matter what you rooting for a incest rulership, man. That's the crazy thing about it. Like the crazy thing about all this is that no matter who you rooting for, you're rooting for incest. And on some micro level, man, you're accepting it a little bit, right? Like, let's just be real. Not a conscious, I'm accepting it, but on some micro level, I'm looking at it and saying the team I'm rooting for is Team Incest. Everywhere, man. Like, where is it not Team Incest? Like, because I was rooting for Jon and Daenerys. That's the incest relationship that this sicko wrote into the story. He gives us no choice. Like, sure, he makes Crassus a super villain, right? He makes Crassus a super villain, but if you left it at Crassus, I could say something about that. If you left it at Jaime and Cersei, where it's the villains, right? But man, we be rooting for these people, like, who, no matter what team you on in House of the Dragon right now, you rooting for incest side, man. Why are those our only choices? Why are these our only choices? I don't have a choice but to root for Team Incest, right? Like, they're both playing for team. I know it's different colors, but they're both on the side of, yeah, we're gonna give you an incest royalty, right? Like, that's how accepted it is. That's how deep it is. Like, every single one of these relationships is, yeah, you're right. Cersei was just like fucking people in the family. I guess if you'll do your brother, a cousin does seem like, distant enough, right? But yeah, she was doing Lancel too. Like that. It was going down like that. It was just like that's what was going on. That's what was going on. And maybe it progressed. Like I said, by the time it got to Cersei and Jaime, it was like, this wasn't good anymore. If they had been born a couple hundred years prior, right around the time of Aegon and Helena, they would have been able to do that with no restraint, man. It would have been no pushback on like having this relationship out in the open and even having kids. So like that might be the real tragedy of Jaime and Cersei. Like, look, at a different time, you guys could have just done it, right? And nobody would have been upset about it, right? I mean, just overall, you still could have ascended and had a throneship, right? Accept it, right? So that's it. But yeah, they were heavy on that stuff, man. They were heavy on that. And I like when the other families are kind of like, okay, you're from I don't know, you're from the Vale or something, like you're gonna marry somebody from the Riverlands. Like, I know they're doing it for political connections like that, but at least you mixing all these genes up. We're not just keeping the pool closed, right? Like, we're adding some other stuff. And I get it for the Targaryens. Like the Targaryens, because this is more than just like, well, it's not. I was gonna say it's more than just controlling power, but it's not. Like, it's not. That's the core of what it is, right? That's the core, because like even the ones where they don't fully even hook up, right? There's other like even with, I'm telling you, man, early Daenerys and her brother, right? That was like some mad, to me. That was some mad like sexual tension. It's like, am I wrong that I remember him kind of like evaluating her boobs, like kind of holding them and looking at them and like talking about them and just talking about her as just like a thing, right? Like, he was very possessive of her. Like, the thing about it is he wasn't like having sex with her, because I think he bartered that part of her value was that she was a virgin, right? Like, that gave her more bargaining tools, right? But it was 100% about her sexuality and how he saw her, and he did look at her like that. Like, the way that he talked to her, he was letting her know, like, yeah, you're this, like come on, man, you're this. So like, yeah, that was a weird one right there, and we saw that. We saw how he was with her, man. We saw how, like, Viserys was definitely knocking at the door of like, if I wasn't selling you, someone help me out, man. I know he said something to that effect, that they would have been like making children themselves or something to that effect, right? So whatever it is, like, they were down. So we got a couple of households where, I don't know if those are like Cersei. So clearly, Lancel was cool with it. So were there other Lannisters who were also down with incest? Because we know a lot of Targaryens are. Never saw this with the Starks, right? And then I'm gonna skip that Daemon and young Rhaenyra, because we know where that went. Like, he was grooming her. I already talked about that. That was definitely like grooming from the beginning. Like the entire way, I'm grooming. And it worked out for him. I mean, that's your chick now. I mean, she's wild, which is your fault too. But this is how we get there. Like that, these are the steps. So this is like accepted. This stuff is on the surface because everybody knew. Like even her pops found out. Like Damon was taking her out and taking her places, and that she wasn't a virgin anymore. Like that was a big, huge like no to the family. Right. And Damon's like, yeah, just marry her to me. It don't matter now. Okay. Right. Let's just go ahead and do that. Because he wanted it anyway. Like he actually like, did him and Rhaenyra, did it? Yeah. I mean, they seem like they both are kind of into each other. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't want to condone that kind of relationship, but it does seem like they move well together. He's always kind of tripping. He is always tripping. But man, watching him defend her last week, like, it was a whole like magical scene, or very poetic scene when he's like defending her in the throne room, right? As they were coming at her, he was just he handled like 8 dudes or something like that. But then we get back to the also very disturbing side with Aemon and Alicent, right? The son like letting his mom know, right? That was a very creepy moment where he took his mom and took that like it like now you're really pushing this tension, and I don't know if I didn't expect that. I don't know if I didn't expect that, man. Like I guess I didn't expect it because I seemed shocked when it went down, right? And like it, man, is this one's really really weird. It's really weird, and I'm scared for the mom. I'm scared for Alicent, right? Like I'm not gonna lie. I'm scared for her, man, because he could get mad nutty over there and messing with these Targaryens. He can get real nutty real quick over there, right? So I'm just kind of telling you, man, I want you to be safe. I want you to move safely, but man, you got to really look at what these Targaryens be doing, man. You married into this, man. You married into this. Like this is a whole like this world right here, man. This world is raw, man. These Targaryens right here, Jesus, man. I don't know what you walk to. Like, man, okay, like Craster and his daughter. Gee, where do I even begin? Where do I even begin with Craster and his daughter? This is one of the most. This is like this is a whole system among itself, right? Like these guys right here, man. So this guy lives behind the wall. Like if you've seen this, I've known you guys have seen this. He's just outside the wall, outside of like anybody's jurisdiction, right? And he has all these wives, but his wives are all his daughters, right? Their daughters become his wives. Like every succession generation of daughters are wives now, like right off the jump, right? Every single boy that is born into it is sacrificed to the White Walkers, right? That's it. So I think that's I don't know how, but I felt like that worked into his protect. This is what was allowing him to live out there, right? Live beyond the wall and not had no issues, right? Was this relationship that he had with the Walker? He was there with the White Walkers. He was there because of it, right? So this is what, man, this world, like the Craster world, it is different, man. It is different because this has got nothing to do with dragons or power. This is not about traditions or none of that, man. This is an entire like built. This is all like fear, coercion, force, control, right? This is one of the clearest examples of like abuse, of essay abuse. This is absolutely it. At the highest level, this is absolutely it, right? Like there's no hiding it. This is a horrible situation for these young ladies to be in. All of them, right? Like because as soon as you're born, they already know this is what he's gonna be doing to you. Like everybody here ends up having babies by him. You're all his wives, just whatever, and they're just like their conditions are just the worst. It's deplorable behavior, man. It's deplorable behavior. Like when Sam got Gilly up out of there, like I never liked Gilly. Like it's odd. I never liked Gilly. I never liked Gilly. I was like, like you're freaking. You just stop talking now. This is what I felt about Gilly for no particular reason. I just Craster. This is like, whew, this is on a whole nother level, man. Like a whole nother level, right? And I think everybody kind of had that same reaction because it was really a test for the Night's Watch. It's really what he was. Like we saw that, like John was instantly like, how can we be this? But look at what we're dealing. We're supposed to be coming in here and slicing this dude up. So it was kind of just revealing to him like some dark parts of the world, like how the world just really was. And dealing with Craster, yeez, this is it right here, man. This is it right here, you know. And like Gilly became obviously like the representative of that. And man, it was raw, man. What they endured, like what she endured, man. Yeah, guys. But it's crazy because it's all tied into like, you know, sacrificing to the White Walkers. Like, yeah, it was sick, man. There's no other way around that, man. There's just no. And then like even how it ended, man. Like then after that, who was it? Oh, the Knights dudes from the Night's Watch came and they just had a rape party over there, right? Like, you know, that had to happen. And I don't know what happened to them at the end, guys. I really don't know. Like I can't. I just can't see that it worked out well. Like, does anyone give me an update? Anyone remember what happened over there to Craster's? Like, Gilly got away. It doesn't seem like, I don't know if there was like a refugee camp where any of the rest of them went away, or they could stay there. I don't know what happened, guys. So I'm terrified to think of it. But yeah, it was a crazy, like, this is the very dark part of that world, man. Like when we really started looking at Westeros, this is a very, very extremely dark part about Westeros and Westeros. And this theme, like I said, this incest, this theme is like really on something different. And like for the Targaryens, like the Targaryens really it just normalizes. Like the Targaryens at the stage where we're at in the story right now, it is really just like, yeah, if you have a male and you have a female, they're gonna get married and keep that Targaryen line pure. That's it. If you have a pure Valerian blood, like this pure Valerian blood, man, this was like superior blood. So, you know, marrying within the family dynamic obviously kept the blood pure. It was not getting watered down with any of that. So this is all about like dragon riders, like breeding for better dragon riders. It's very close kin unionship, right? Yeah, man. Old Valeria must have been off the hook, man. Like, yeah, seriously, I probably wouldn't even want to go to Old Valeria, man. Like, being real, I wouldn't want to go there, man. Yeah, I can imagine that. Like, it's powerful. So it is power, it's control, right? This is like absolutely the heart of the kingship. And they felt like it, and maybe it's true. Like, it's the fire in the blood, it's the blood of the dragon. Like, we can't dilute this blood of the dragon with anything else, man. It's a messed up system, but it's the foundation of sibling marriage, right? Uncles and nieces, like. But I don't know how long you can do that. Is that why? Who was it who went wild? Like the Mad King? Is that why he went mad? Right? Like it obviously was leading to weaknesses. We saw, you know, in House of Dragons, Rhaenyra's pops just like falling apart, man. Like you were seeing it, right? Like you seeing some weird stuff out of the Targaryens, man. Like this is what it is. But you guys still have control of all the dragons. That's the problem. Like you guys yourselves like breeding some crazy stuff into your bloodline. And man, like we see it, man. Like it's just like this isolation. Pretty soon, man, y'all have to go crazy, right? Like you have to go crazy if you just keep breeding like the same traits over and over again. I like burning stuff up, man. I like burning stuff up, man. I'm not gonna lie about that, man. Like that's a powerful sensation, man. I don't know. I'm gonna reveal something to you guys, like very near and dear, right? Like, yeah, like I was totally a pyromaniac as a kid. I love burning stuff down, like a lot. Like I was about to say a lot of little boys, but I'm just trying to do that so I don't seem like I'm so weird myself. But I was definitely like, yeah, fire. So like I get it. Like and as we were watching Daenerys, this is what started scaring me about her was Jacaris. Like you got real good at saying Jacaris, man. Like you knew, I know you speak and spoke in Old Valerian, but I didn't hear a lot of other Old Valerian words. Like it was I don't remember a lot of other Old Valerian like language. I don't know. You spoke Jakari so much that's the only Old Valerian word I know. Okay, from watching you, I learned one Old Valerian word, and it was Jakaris, and that means that you was using that word all the time, right? Because you were. And I'm just saying, like, it got a little good to you. And here's the thing, you always have to kind of show restraint. Like, I'm telling you guys, if something ever feels too good internally, ease it back and deny yourself it immediately, right? Test that shit out to see how you actually feel about it, right? Because, like, if there's a time to cut yourself off from immediate gratification, and a lot of times it's early. A lot of times it's early that you recognize that, like, I am enjoying burning people up a whole lot right now. Just like my pops did. And if your pops is famous for burning shit up, I would think you might be a little bit concerned about that, considering I'm sure you don't want, like, you saw how it ended, right? Like, you heard the story. You were there. You were there when it ended, right? So yeah, that's the whole thing. That's the whole thing. So you knew what was gonna happen, right? But still you don't stop. Still you don't stop. Like this, like wash, repeat, right? Wash, rinse, repeat. This is what Targaryen's about. Let's run it back. Every time a Targaryen rule ends in something bad, right? They always immediately say, let's run that back. Like, I mean, like I'm telling you, man, these Targaryens, man, they don't give a damn about nobody else, man. Like, they never care about the kingdom at all, man. Like, I never see them just like doing nice stuff for the kingdom or listening to people. Never. Like, it's always some bullshit, man. And every Targaryen, it's always like, look, man, here's the thing. I mean, okay, here's the thing with Daenerys. This is a quick criticism of Daenerys. To which, the more I talk about Game of Thrones or House of Dragons, you're gonna hear a lot of complaints about Daenerys, right? Like, you have a dragon and your dragon just running wild. What do you think he's eating, right? Like, he's gonna eat. So what do you think he's eating, right? Like, you should have already had arrangements. Like I don't even see how you guys are supporting a full grown dragon like that in any of these towns. So, like, yeah, I'm just full of her with that one, right? But that's the whole thing. Like, the Targaryens, like, nothing has normalized incest more than Targaryen life, man. Like, Targaryens have most definitely brought it to just like the forefront. You can be king. You like it dips in and out. Like, if I'm a Lannister, I'm like, why can't we do it? If I'm a Lannister, I'm like, why is it that it's only Targaryens could do it? Only Targaryens can have brother-sister relationships, right? Because you guys do it all the time, but as soon as some Lannisters try to do it, like, the whole kingdom comes running down. That's some mad hypocrisy right here. I think we all know that that's a mad hypocrisy that you allow them to, brother and sister up, but nobody else can do it, right? Like, that's hypocrisy of it, because the Targaryens don't even hide it. The Targaryens aren't even hiding. The Targaryens are very open and upfront with, look, most of the crazy stuff that they do. But that's it right there. But that's the thing, and I had to go here, man. I really did, because this isn't the only like incest in fiction, man. There's not, like, you know what? So obviously Game of Thrones, then, like, famously for a long time, we were kind of led a little bit with Luke and Leia. Like it's weird, and here's the only thing. This is the only reason I have criticism of Luke and Leia specifically, right? Yeah, okay. So, you know what? We're going to talk a little bit about that, right? Just what you said about the 18th dynasty pharaohs, or at least some of the belief systems. I'm going to talk about that too. I'm going to address that today as well. Thank you for bringing that up, though. So, here's my thing with Luke and Leia, right? Like, not that they went particularly far, but they did kiss, and it was kind of a manipulative thing anyway, so it really wasn't all that. But if you guys keep having the Force so much, you're so powerful in the Force, how do you guys never recognize your family members? I'm just saying, it's a weird thing that Darth Vader never recognized it. Like, he have to be, like, Luke couldn't sense that was him. Like, there was none of that. You didn't sense Leia was right in your face as well, and you didn't sense a connection with Leia. So there's a little bit of weirdness there. And I'm like, for Luke, if you, I feel like I would know, man. I feel like I would know when there's, like, I feel like there's some biological indicators, right, that roots you away from doing incesty stuff, right? Like, when your people look like you always be like, I don't really know if I want to slap somebody on the ass that look like me, right? Like, that's a different kind of place to be at, right? And then I don't know if you guys remember, this absolutely insane novel, like this absolutely like getting after story called Flowers in the Attic, man. I'm telling you guys right now that Flowers in the Attic is on a whole nother level of incest taboo stories, right? It's this brother and sister are forced, well, this whole little family unit, brother and sisters, a couple of brothers and sisters, and they're forced to live like in isolation up in this attic. Clearly, it's right in the title, right? Right in the title. And they instantly become incestuous. Like right off the bat. Like right off the bat, they become incestuous. Really, right? This actually happens. And it's weird because it's a boy and a girl. It's a boy and a girl, right? So obviously, yeah, they're both coming of age. The sister was Christy Swanson, right? So not that should influence, but clearly this is what happened. Right? And it exposes a lot. It exposes a lot. Now I'm also gonna bring up the Children of Hurin, right? Which is a Tolkien story, right? So this is a Lord of the Rings story here, right? It's not out. It's sibling. Look, if you read this story, this is a Tolkien story, and they neither realizes that they're brother and sister. Okay, so they don't realize that they're brother and sister, but they are brother and sister. That's where it is. Like so they don't know it. They don't know it, but I don't know that it matters that they didn't know it because it still goes down, right? It goes down. It goes down, right? And this is and then the story becomes of their children, right? Like their children then, right? Like they have a successful breeding and they have children. So like it's a dark story, man. Like I hadn't gotten exposed to this until very recently, but this is like a mad dark story. So even Tolkien kind of takes it on some things. So it gets a lot of work, man. It gets a lot of work, right? So you got in Star Wars, like if you remember Battlestar Galactica, like think about Battlestar Galactica. Let me see if I can find a Battlestar Galactica image just so we can know what we're talking about. Because they had to deal with this. They had to deal with this the entire time. They had to deal with this in both series. I'm telling you guys, Battlestar Galactica is a great series that I think has not been handled well, and I hope that at some point we get another crack at Battlestar Galactica because it is a great series, right? Let me see. Let me save this here. So where I would go with it with Battlestar Galactica is that they were always talking about like population control. At every one of them, there's always an underlying level of controlling population because you got a small amount of people here, right? You got a small amount of people, and we know what everybody's going to start doing here in a little bit. So it was an ever present issue with small populace. So like we've kind of been like they kind of been talking about in various ways of like how do you handle these situations? What are humans normally gonna do? Like there's some weird questions, man. Like I don't know if you guys ever watched Lost in Space, man, but like man, I gotta bring this image up, man, because I've had some heated conversations with some people saying like I have a complete misunderstanding of this series, but man, I want the series too, because this is some crazy shit here. This is absolutely insane series here, right? All right, where's my tool at? So Lost in Space, like, all right, the way that they originally did this series, the way it's dominantly been set up, right, has always been the Robinson family, right? If you can see this, let me grab this one here. The core of it is always the Robinson family, right? It's the mother, it's the father. Like I'm sure you guys are familiar with the series. It's still enduring over lots of iterations, right? Like you can see The one above me, like this is kind of the most enduring. The one directly above me is the most enduring image of like who they are, right? It's the mother and the father, right? And then it's the space pilot, right? And their daughter Judy, and then their other daughter, and then their son, and this weird doctor, right? So it's weird because you're going into space and you're lost. And if you look in the positioning, like the doctor, the scientist, I mean the pilot here, he's always positioned with the two daughters, right? Like they were already addressing that you had two of age women, like right. You just look. I'm just looking at how this is put together. The husband and wife are together with their son, the weird old doctor there, but he's with the two women. So they're always kind of like hedging, like eventually, like what happens. So like just kind of look at it, man. It's we kind of end up dealing with this topic a lot, a lot, a lot. Like we just got to be realistic about it. Like we are having a lot of conversations about it. Like, I mean, like, man, this is another one here. Like, this is one of the most terrifying, man. This is one of the most terrifying series I've ever watched. This is one, like, after this, I was like, yeah. After this, I kind of start backing up off of scary movies in general. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I felt like I didn't want to do this anymore. Like I didn't want to. I didn't want to do this. Right. I don't want to talk about if this is what I got to endure to say that I'm down with scary movies. Like I don't want to be down with scary movies anymore. I no longer want it to be like an aficionado on scary movies. Like no way ever. Right. Because where you at? Where you at? Where you at? Because it involved watching this shit right here, which is some of the scary stuff I've ever seen. Like, if you guys have never watched The Hills Have Eyes, like, I'm telling you, right? Like, so this is, I'm saying watch this stuff because culturally we're talking a lot about, like, incest stories. It's not just a theme that we're seeing in Targaryen literature. Like, it's out there a lot, man. And this just kind of took it over the limits. Like, we're talking about, like, from, royalty at times to, like, some of the most, like, grimy settings that you can imagine, right? Like and what you get, like up in the mountains and all this stuff. But it's still like a lot of talk in that direction, right? And then like here's the thing, okay, so and this is kind of the narrative, right? Like look for this in storytelling, guys. Like it's a technique, right? This is when you're gonna see some incest stories. Your first scenario is going to be accidental incest. And that's true, man. Like think about it, Oedipus, right? Accidental incest. Like we've heard accidental incest stories before, and I can't come up with in like outside of Luke and Leia, right? Yeah, I can't really think of, but I know if you guys look at it, that's a theme that you see where like it's a brother and sister and they're long lost and then all of a sudden they're reunited, but they're already having sex. Like that happens, right? That story happens, right? Then there's like the dynasty incest, right? Like where you got to keep the Targaryen family together. So I got to bang my sister. Like that's what it is. Like, and this is kind of a lot of royal houses in fiction kind of operate like this. Like it's bloodline maintenance and political control. Like that all makes sense. Like we absolutely get that, right? It's weird, but we do get exactly what you're going for, right? Then there's like the forbidden romance aspect. Like it's consensual, but it's intentional, but it's like, yeah, we're all across taboos. Flowers in the Attic is like a great example of that. There's some other stories like in Mega, like these relations off these kind of stories kind of explore just like relationships in general, like emotional complexity, like what these children are going through, and just like a reaction to it. And then like you get, of course, like so like your comment about like the dynasty pharaohs, like that dynastic incest, yeah, you're right. It mirrors all that. Like that's a clear line in explaining like, incest stories, like how they really get to these incest stories. And then the last one, of course, is like the degeneration story, where it's like, yeah, the world's kind of coming out to an end, so you guys are all just, that's just how it's going. Like it's going down like that, right? And we get it. We get it. Like we understand. Like you guys are gonna do this, right? You kind of were waiting for this, and it happened. So there you go, right? So those are kind of the mechanisms that we see, like writers interject like incest stories on us, right? Like all the time. And like in fantasy and fiction, like we kind of see it a lot. Like in fiction, like Lord of the Rings has got like it does have incestuous relationship. We don't see it in Dragonlance. We don't see it in Time of Will. We don't see it in The Witcher. So it's not necessarily a prerequisite in fantasy. But man, I'll be damned if it's not like a reoccurring theme in mythology, as you have mentioned, DJM, right? Like it's often mentioned like through Egyptian mythology, they were all paired up with their sisters, right? Like it was only a handful of gods. So you had Isis and Osiris, you had Set and Nephthys, they were brother and sisters. Their parental parents, like, were brother and sister. And I think like Geb and Nut were so into each other, they had to force them apart. Like the earth and the sky were so into each other that they had to force them apart so that humanity could continue to live. Like that's how real it was for them. So there's a lot in that. Like in Greek mythology, like all the initial pairings, everybody, like all the Titans are all paired with brother sister pairings. The entire I'm almost certain that the entire Titan pantheon, so the parents of Zeus and everybody, right? I'm absolutely positive that these were all brother sister parents, and then Zeus and Hera, those are brother sister pairings. Did Poseidon have a wife? I don't know if Poseidon had a wife. I don't remember that. We know who Hades' wife was, but I'm sure there were some other pairings. Like the whole Titanomachy, they were all like, linked through family bonds. So that's 100% true. Japanese mythology, there's also sibling deities who create islands of Japan together. Hawaiian mythology, like Skyfather and Earth Mother, are siblings who become lovers, and it happens a lot, right? Even in Inca mythology, you get that same belief, like the sun god would come down to earth, like and with siblings they rule together, like a man and wife, like couple, or male and female couple. So this idea that the brothers and sister siblings like getting together, yeah, your mythology. Yes, absolutely. You know your mythology very, very well. Yeah, I've done some mythology on that too, man. I talked about that one too. And then what's the other one where like the Inuit? It's like Maui. I think it's Maui. I have to remember her name. And her and her brother, like hers isn't consensual, but it's still an incest story. So a lot of mythology stories, like a lot of them, a lot of them, a lot of them. Like I don't really see it in Norse mythology because I know like they intermarried with like the Vanir. So I don't know if the Norse, if that was considered right. That seemed like that was at a distance, but it exists. Like look, it is what it is. Like the relationships get complex when you don't have a lot of beings out there, right? So it is what it is. Like Polynesian, Japanese, Hindu mythologies. You'll find some examples of this stuff too. So like it gets pretty deep. Like it gets pretty deep. It gets pretty deep. Like that's the mythological angle. So like we're not explaining some stuff that's just new. There's some cultures where it's out there, and like especially on primordial levels, they kind of justify it a little bit more. When it's like Earth and Sky God, they're just like, yeah, you guys are gonna have to do this. Moon and Sun, like you guys are brother and sister all the time. So that's not too shocking, right? That's not even a shocking thing. But this is where it is. Like so there's on the mythological level, like we see a couple of things that they represent, right? Their creation myths were like, Atum and his daughters, right? They create Shu and Tefnu. So it's creating like the very body of it. In Greek, it's Gaia is both a mother and she's origin. Her son becomes her consort, right? Which is weird to itself. Izanami and Izanagi and Izanami, who were siblings, who create the Japanese islands, right? And many other godparents. And this is the purposes of explaining creation itself, right? So it's an old tool, and we do get that. Then there's like divine kingship, where you marry to maintain power, like siblings marrying among gods, like rulership, like Zeus and Hera were queens of the gods, they were brother and sister. Osiris and Isis, and like sometimes even in the North, you see people doing those same type of marriage pairings. Like in bloodline preservation, like pure line is divine power. So that was a Targaryen's claim, man. Like, and if my blood allowed me to ride in a dragon, I might be like, yeah, look, well, shoot. Can anybody like we don't want to lose our dragon riding ability? So I like, okay, well, look, if it's the blood, like we got to do what we got to do to keep it pure. It would seem like you guys have to branch that out a little bit further than like get a little distance, so like you can get a little bit of like cousin DNA. I would be focusing on cousins, not on sisters. That can't possibly work out. And then your cosmological like families, like in the Greek myth, Hawaiian myth, like Mesopotamian, like these families were contained units, and like some people were pulling double duty. Some people were daughter and mother, right? Some people were daughter and consort, or brother and consort. They were doing a lot of double time, like Greek mythologies, Nephthys and Set, right? And she apparently had a baby with Osiris or Asar. So yeah, that's a key thing. That's a key component to like almost keeping all these around. So Game of Thrones, man, it's heavily pulling a lot of weight for the talk about incest right now, but clearly it's not the only one. We can see why. Like their whole identity is their divine right. They got dragon blood, so that's special. These are royal bloodlines. Sibling marriage is cool, and they're excepted from almost other stuff. Because we saw some Lannisters try to get away with that shit, and it did not work. Right? They got denied at the rim. Right? That great rim rotation. They denied the Lannisters at the rim that no, you guys can't have married siblings like ruling. Yeah. Both the Larry, yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, you intermarry, so you still working with purity, but like you're not doubling up on those genes. So it takes some real planning. It takes some foresight, because like there's some other stuff. Like if you watch Dune, like really, Dune is a master class in like controlled breeding. Like if you watch what's going on in the Dune series, what do you think the Bene Gesserit are doing? Like they're making these matches, like they're doing this stuff for a reason. Like everything about Paul Atreides was them manipulating that system in order to get him and his sister. Like they knew what they were doing. So like those concepts, like and that's how you master them. I watch the Dune way of doing it, how they master it, because they do it at a high level. Like they actually do it at a high level. There's a lot of thought into that. So at any rate, like this is what had initially turned me off to the Game of Thrones series. But like when I go back, I'm like, look, these are all the mythologies. Like I said, guys, I always create these infographics, right? So you have access to these. This is going to tell you all the mythologies that come off with incesty all up in them, right? Inuit mythology, Polynesians, Japanese, Hindu, Norse, Egyptian, like all these have like various components that are linked to it. Yeah, but in Jesuit, like they are next level on a lot of stuff. And if you read that, like they're on a whole different level, man. Yeah, I got a lot of respect for them. Like, and that's exactly what they're doing, man. They're controlling the bloodlines down to the T, man, down to the T. They know exactly what they're getting. Like they're no jokes, man. They're steady, man. Like you know your stuff on that, man. I gotta give it up to you there. You really do know your stuff. So that's what I have for you guys. Just like going through this incest in Westeros just seemed appropriate as the series is starting to roll on. Like whatever happens, we gotta be rooting for somebody that's down with incest on both sides of it. We don't get no choice. If that isn't normalization of some shit, I have no idea what would be, right? So at any rate, like I'm gonna dip out. Thanks for stopping in. Thanks DJM for like all the good info. Check out his comments in the chat right here. But as always, I'll be back. I'm gonna dip out. This will be up on the channel, and I don't know. It's early, so I may be back on later today. Talk about whatever catches my fancy.